Welcome to my podcast, Shaping Your Journey. My guest in this episode is Aldo Nova, a Canadian rock legend, singer, songwriter, guitarist, producer, who from his humble beginnings in Montreal went on to record his fantasy album, which became a huge platinum international hit. He then continued his solo career and collaborating with many other great artists such as Bon Jovi, Celine Dion, and many, many others. I had the pleasure also of working with this great, brilliant artist. Here is Aldo Nova. It's so nice to see you. Thanks for being on this. You know, I've been chasing you for a little bit, but I know you're super busy. You're on the road. You're playing. So I'm just happy we can do this. Honestly,
great, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget to mention I broke my neck on top of that this summer, so that was a little bit of a delay.
Yeah. When you told me that broke your neck, oh no. But we can talk. Stuff happens, but I'm still glad like you're in one piece.
Of course, I'm better than one piece. I'm in, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm in 5 pieces.
Nice. But listen, before we talk, because I want to go back kind of talking about shaping your journey, okay?
Okay.
In the beginning, because you have some really interesting stories, and I've known you long enough to even recite some of them because I was there for some of it.
Oh, so, don't mention. Those we're not going to mention.
No, but the good stuff. There was a lot of great stuff. But in the beginning, what did it for you? Where was that first spark? What was that fire that first started you going?
The fire that first started, I think, is when I saw the Beatles on the Sullivan Show in '64. I don't remember. I was born in '56. I don't know how that made me. It's like calculate backwards, 6, 14.
8.
That's probably 8 years. I was 8 years old. So when me and my mother would always walk around down the street in Saint Michel, and there was a window. There was like a 5-10 cent shop, what we call a 5-10 cent shop, and in the window was this ukulele. It's a little white ukulele, about this long, just a kid's ukulele. So I kept bugging her. I said, "Can I buy that ukulele?" So eventually she did buy the ukulele. I bought the ukulele, and I was like always in front of the mirror, trying to play rock star at 8 years old. So, and then after that, my brother sat on my ukulele and broke it. But then my brother fixes everything because he's a steel worker, right? He fixed anything. So he glued it together by burning it. So it was this long. But after that, I sort of lost it. It's like, it's not a ukulele, so I sort of lost my trip. Then after that, then it was like, not really much. And then the catalyst really for me to start playing guitar was my mother got hit by a drunk driver when I was 12. And so at that point, when you're 12 and you're close to your mother, it doesn't really register. It's like you need an outlet. So I asked my brother to go buy me a guitar and an amp, an electric guitar. So we went on Saint Denis. I don't know if now you know it, but people don't know it. But it's some street, and we went upstairs to the second floor, and we bought a $20 guitar and a $30 amp. So it was a piece of wood with an action like that, and it's like a diving board for action. So I went home and literally, I just played. I locked myself in my room for 2 years. I just come out to eat, go to school, and then I go back and study, and I always practice. I mean, that's literally when people say you start by playing the blues. I mean, I literally had the blues. So by the time I get out of there, I was 14. I was just well enough. Then we started a band with regular guys, a bunch of guys started playing. And then I played Dawson College at 15. And then from there at 16, I worked in a music store. Guys came to the music store, saw that I could play, hired me for a band that was doing very well. And then it went from working 4 nights a week in the club, doing 4 45-minute sets, so playing covers. So that's also how I learned my craft, by playing other people's material.
Yeah.
So
And then you did your first album,
I
Fantasy.
did, yeah, before I did my first album, it's a funny thing because I had bought a big Yamaha CS80, and the CS80 was like, it weighed at least 200 pounds. I think it was 200 pounds. So I was living in a basement, and I was playing with my band 4 nights a week, and I was living in my basement on near the Papineau and Saint-Jessica and Mozart. Anyway, I'm gonna name names because you know them,
Yes, yes,
but
yes, sure.
so then I had my guitars, my Les Paul, my Fender bass, my 500 vinyl record collection, all my whole my audio system, and I had this big 200-pound synthesizer. But when I was gone, somebody broke into the apartment and stole everything. But
Wow.
obviously, they couldn't take this 200-pound synthesizer because, first of all, it wouldn't come out anywhere, and two, it was heavy. If you want to go, you can't just go. So they left this 200-pound synthesizer that I knew very well how to program it, and I knew how to do sequences with it and all kinds of modulation and make it do sequences and arpeggio effects even before anything existed. And I had the first Oberheim one-note sequencer, but I had a mini Moog by the time I was 14. I had a mini Moog, I had a clavinet, I had a Fender Rhodes, I had all that stuff. But this synth sounded amazing. That's what they use on Africa, or the Porcaro brothers, Steve
Right.
Porcaro uses. So they didn't do that. So I had learned this type of really weird bass sequence. So a guy came up to me one day, came to see me in the club, and he said, "Listen, I know you're a great musician." He goes, "Do you write songs?" I had never written a song in my life. "Yeah, I'm a great writer." He goes, "Do you know how to record?" "Yeah, sure. I've been in studios before," which all BS because I've never been anywhere. So he comes to
Right.
my house, and I pull out my synth, and then I play him this thing. And so he goes, "Yeah, that's great." So I write the song. It's called XR7, and you can still find it online. And this is 1979. So we go into a studio, Bobby Nasson. I don't know if you're familiar with that
Yes, I
place.
remember. I
So we go
recorded
to the
there.
studio. I take my 200-pound synthesizer. We go in there, and we start doing, and I start doing 6 songs with him. And they're all like new wave, very back then in 79 and 80s, it was all like Gary Newman and things like that. So that's the style I was doing. And so he skips on the bill. So the owners of the studio knew that I was the one doing everything. So they offered me, he goes, "Well, either you pay us $10,000 or you can continue working and we're going to try to shop a deal for you." And so I took that option. Obviously, I didn't have the money. And I mean, when you're 17, 18 years old, give you full access to a recording studio. And so I took it, and then I kept working on it. And then I worked on, so there were 6 songs that were in new wave. And then I started writing rock stuff, like Fantasy, Under the Gun, all these things that appeared on my first record. So we went to shop. And then a guy there was this woman that worked for the studio that was going to Midem, which is a big publishing company. I don't know if you're familiar with Midem. All the publishers meet there.
Yeah, yeah.
So she went there, and she knew a guy. She was going out with the guy, the head of ATV Music Canada, which is a big publishing company. So she handed him the tape one night, and he basically handed it to his associate, where it's like the guy was like an intern, whatever. So the guy that worked there, he was like Valazzoli. He was like, "Wow, I really like this. I want to go meet this guy." So he came to Montreal. He met me, and then he saw that I had potential as a writer, and then they signed me to a writing deal, a writer's deal, or a publishing deal. And this was in 1980. And so they started shopping my album, which was half new wave, half rock. So we took it to a label, and the label said, "Well, the new wave sort of got, the new wave is okay, but the rock record is really good, the rock side, because basically you have half a record. It says if you can go back and do the other half. So I was really happy because I was more a rocker than a new wave. So I did, and I did all the other stuff, and it became my first record. So everything that you hear on my first album is what was done on the show. Nothing was ever touched except it was remixed. But those are my demos. So that was
Nice,
it.
nice.
Then they put it out. Then the guy, what happens to is the publishing company, as usual, since they saw that I had the talent to perform, that I was decent looking. Well, I'm good looking.
Of
Really
course.
good, really good looking. They signed me as a recording artist, which they weren't a recording company. So they took me and signed me as a recording artist. Then they went and they shopped it to CBS in the States, Portrait in New York. And so they were really interested because we want to sign this guy because he's very unique. And during that time, I was still recording the record, and the A&R from Portrait would come and see me in Montreal. And we got along great. And so basically, ATV leased me to CBS.
Okay.
In other words, they basically sold me, my talent, and me personally to CBS. So at that point, I was not only paying ATV its cut, and then I was paying, they made money, and I was paying CBS's cut. In other words, so everybody was making money but me. And in the end, my deal, I ended up with 5 cents an album, and they made all the record. I think to this day, ATV is still getting paid, and I'm trying to figure why they're still getting paid, because their contract's been over for 30, 15,
Well, we all know
20
the
years.
stories with, I mean, those stories, we all have these stories.
They still continue. I mean, it's every day it's another story. I mean, even now, I was going to sign to a publishing administration deal just last week. It started 2 weeks ago, and I had hired this entertainment lawyer that had referred me from another entertainment lawyer. And I hired him, and he always brought me to the same company. The first time I was going to send, I had written 16 songs for Celine Dion, and one of the big ones was the new DS Come. So I wanted to sell that song. So he brought me to this company, and then it was they offered me decent, a good amount of money. But then when I calculated that after the day that I would sign that paper, that I would collect no more money from that song, not performance or anything, I sort of said, it was the Friday, and the Monday we're going to sign the contract. Friday afternoon, I said at 4 o'clock, I said, no, I'm not doing it. Because there's no way that amount of money deducted by the lawyer's fee, then brought to here and paid an enormous amount of taxes, both federal and provincial, I wouldn't be left with the money that, even if in a 40-year period, even with the best interest possible, I could never make what I would make in 3 years by hanging on to the thing. So it was just common sense. So last week they wanted to sign to an administration deal, and then the contract was it. And then the lawyer let all these clauses go by, oh, well, if we do a sub-publishing deal, well, the writer has no right to collect any of that money, then they do this and that. And after, I've been in the business 55 years professionally, so I can read a contract. I mean, I've been screwed enough to know how to read now. So I was just, take this out, take this out, take this out. And then when it got to it, I kept telling the lawyer would okay, take this out. But the lawyer never came to me with any suggestions. He never got me a red line. Okay, we're going to take this out. This is not good. This is not good. He'd leave everything there. So after a certain point of getting really nervous, I decided the other night, said, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. The advance or nothing. Not worth the trouble. It's just the intent of them putting all of these clauses in the contract made it that it was this is a crooked company. Because I've been with ATV, I've been with Crosstown, I've been with BMG, I've been with other big companies, and they never, ever asked me to have reports about my SOCAN, my performance. It's a publishing administration deal. My publishing is this, performance is that. The twain shall never meet. So there was too invasive, So
No,
I just
a lot of people who, and I hope people who are listening to this is a typical situation where companies, of course, they're in business and they're in business of making money for themselves and their shareholders. And we're just the suppliers, and we're just, whether it's us or somebody else, doesn't matter. It's like Spotify.
Well, yeah, the Spotify is like
All of
now
them,
they're really
all of them, they're no different. I mean, and it should, and it
Spotify's the worst, but I mean, it starts with the record companies and the executives and the legal departments, and I could have gotten out of my contract. I could have got my master's back in 2019. There's the law in the States, the copyright law says after 25 years, the contract is gone, and the company has to hand you back the master's and all your rights. So when I found this out, it was like 30 years later in 2019. It must have been close to 40 years. I hired a lawyer. I had a company, a lawyer in the States companies write to me and say, your copyright's over. So they sent a notice in 2017 to Sony saying that in 2019, everything goes back because after 3 years. I hired this lawyer, and he said, eventually, oh no, they don't want to give it up because it's a work for hire, blah, blah, blah. So I signed my rights for peanuts again. I could have, if I would have got my master's back, I would be a millionaire by now. Of that first album, it's like,
yeah, because I know it sold a lot now, that one.
But yeah. I'll get it back. Don't worry. I'm a pain in the culo.
as they say in Irish. But I wanted to say, since that very beginning, that first album was amazing. It was great, and it did a lot. You were playing stadiums and all of that. Mm-hmm. Then you continued writing. You were working. You actually played also on Bon Jovi's first album. You were
right.
There's a big crossover there. So there's a moment there that it's really interesting. So you're in New York and you're working for your new albums and doing demos. How did that come out?
At that time, Bon Jovi was he must have been 17 years old, 18, and I was working my studio in Studio Wave, mixing my first album with Tony Bon Jovi, his cousin, but he designed the power station, so he made that room with the big drum sound. He designed that room, and he was mixing my first album. He's a genius. He looks like nothing, but he's a genius. Anything you can ask him, he'd do it. So the two of us put together, it was like insane insanity over there. It was like so loud. And then the speakers he had the speakers on these rails that they could come closer and closer. At a certain point, we were wearing the speakers like headphones, and it's loud blasting, and we loved it. So I'd go at the coffee machine. He was making coffee, sweeping floors. So I got to be friends with him. I invited him to my session and listened to stuff. So he heard fantasy, and it was like, wow, stuff like that. So then his cousin, and he wanted to make a demo for Runaway. So his cousin got Tony Bon Jovi got all these people together. Roy Bittan from the East Street Band. He got Frankie LaRocca on drums. He got Huey McDonald on bass, Tim Pierce on guitar, me on guitar, and some keyboard player that I don't remember. And basically we did the track. There was nobody from the band. And he sang, and then it became a big hit on New York radio. Nice. Then he got the band.
Yeah. It's interesting how these things come about in our journey. Things don't work just parallel. There's a lot of crossing of paths, crossing of projects. It's amazing. Then later you came to Montreal and continued writing and producing, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, I did my first record with Sony. I did it in Montreal and signed to Sony. Then I lived in Long Island for a while, and I did my second album, which did a little less because first of all, I took really everybody's going more commercial, even Van Halen, and I took it to the extreme, concept album, whatever. Then the third album, since the first album didn't do a second album do as well as the first one, on the third album, the record company wanted to take more control. Like they were trying to get me, when they did get me to do songs that I hadn't written, and not words, not music, and record them like a cover artist. So after the third record, I said, I'm never working with these guys again. So I went back to Montreal and I waited them out. And then they let me out of my contract in 1989. So I didn't really record till late. But I went to Montreal and I made a lot of money doing jingles. The jingles for Coke, Chrysler, all these things. And then I started working with Celine Dion when she was 14. And that grew to a nice relationship. So
yeah. Now I remember, I think that was around this time we met, right? I mean, I remember we were doing a TV commercial for Celine that's a whole other story. Those TV commercials. But you were and at the same time I was working on my brother's album.
Oh yeah, I loved your brother's record. He was great. I don't want to mention in case something happened, but
no, he's passed. He's passed. Yeah, but I remember you helped me finish the album. I mixed it in your studio. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that was a great album, and
that was incredible. And nobody got it like me and you got it. Nobody understood how good that was.
Yeah, my brother was a brilliant writer. He was a poet. Brilliant, and because he used to do these, he would write books. He was teaching at U of T, and then when I saw what he was doing, he was a great performer. I says, rather than just say it, why don't I record something? I'll write some music. You put the tape on and see the reaction. Everybody went ballistic. So I said, let's do a whole album, and we did, and. I had so much fun writing the music, producing the album. I have to thank you for that, by the way. For helping me finish the album, and it sounded amazing. The ideas you gave me in the studio was beautiful. And then, I mean, you also then did a lot of work.
I was good back then. Now I'm rotten.
But listen. I have to call you on this. The name Aldo, we got a lot of people confused. Of course. You're the better looking one.
Yeah, much.
But I mean, we had a lot of fun. I mean, these journeys always have a lot of parts to it, but we did have a lot of fun, and it was really one thing that always amazed me was you would look. I would say, here's a guy who can look at a machine and program it in 5 seconds. How do you do that? I mean,
I'm having me and electronics. I can program anything. I still have all my old. If you can tell, I still have all my old analog.
Yes.
My memory Moog. I've gone back. I still have my console.
Yes.
Everything. I still have my back. I'm going back to all my. And I have my guitars, so
nice.
I started playing more guitar recently. For a while, I just didn't play guitar at all. But now I've gotten back to it. Writing, I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm very creative these days.
Yeah. I mean, I want to ask you about that because I know you're working on some really interesting stuff. But going back a little bit, because you had written a lot of, I mean, you were responsible for Celine doing the English album, right?
Right.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, and it was at the same time you and I were doing some things together, and we're in the same kind of bubble kind of thing, and I remember that that time it was really interesting because, I mean, I had worked with Celine before. I recorded her first Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did it live in one afternoon. It was crazy, but. The fact that you got Rene, who, by the way, was a genius manager, and you know that.
Marketer, manager.
Absolutely brilliant. I would watch him work, how he did things, and that's the way you do it. But
Uh-huh,
uh-huh.
uh-huh.
Yep. And the rest is history. But the fact that, I mean, you convinced him to do the English album, and in the beginning it was
Well, I
because,
didn't convince him to do the English album. What happened is that I had written with her. I had a song called "Have a Heart" that I did with an American artist called Angela Clements. I had a couple of things, and "Have a Heart." I produced it, and it was on it was on Portrait also in New York. And the song was called "Have a Heart," and it was all produced, and the girl that sang it and everything. So when I was doing, and this was in 19, I forget what year it was, very early, it was for her first album she did incognito. So for her first album, Rene said, okay, he called Eddie Marnet and he translated it into French. So that became a Doctor Je t'aime. But he still remembered that I had to have a heart. So one day when it came time for her to do the Juno Awards, he came to me and he said, listen, we need a great English song and we need it to be, we need it to be produced by a Sunday night. We need to produce. He says, but we have the song. We have a heart. So okay. So I figured, okay, I'm going to do it. So I went. She was playing on Sunday night at the Junos, so she needed a song. So Friday night I go and I'm not going to mention names, but there was a guy in town who had a synclavier. Okay. He had a synclavier, probably one of the only synclaviers in town. He was good at it, a very talented guy. But back then, we weren't angels. So we started working on the stuff. We programmed the track on synclavier, but the synclavier, what happened is that after the day, to work in another studio, you needed to transfer it to 24 track because we were going to another studio to do vocals. So we programmed it on the Friday night, and like I said, we weren't angels, but I was a functional one. And him, I don't know if whatever happened. So Saturday morning, talk about things that happen and don't happen, could have not happened. Saturday morning to transfer the tapes, I can't find this guy. I can't find him. We don't know where he is. Calling everybody, calling his family, calling everybody, calling people that know him. Nobody knows where he is. I have to be in the studio with Celine, and not with Celine, but with the background singers at one. And so we can't find this guy. Nobody has the keys, nothing to this studio where we record. And so I was going, man, I need these tapes done now. So finally we managed to find the guy who had some dummy sets of the keys. So we opened the door and he was there under the console with a case of 12s of beer. So finally we got in and we transferred the tapes, and then I went and recorded background vocals and then her. But if we wouldn't have found those keys, she wouldn't have an English career, just to show you how it is. So that after that, I went to the studio, recorded background vocals, and then Saturday night I recorded with Celine, Have a Heart, but her English wasn't good at all. So I had to literally coach her word for word or sentence for phrase. And since I'm a singer, it's not hard. If they hear you, then it's easier to phrase, so. Well, up to the end, Celine, she hears the demo, she needs the demo, and then she follows along, so.
Yeah.
But that's it, and that led to a many-year relationship, and I've written a lot of good songs for her.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's funny how these things happen. That moment, it could go either way, right?
That's a split second. No key, no find the guy, finished. No song. Mind you, I would have found a way to go into the studio, play everything, and just cut the song again, but it wouldn't have had the magic, the sound of the synclavier yet.
Yeah. Well, knowing you, I totally believe you. You would have put it together in an hour, but thankfully it went that way, so you didn't have to do the disappearing and crazy things, or like the genius comes out. At the moment of panic is out. You get the job done. You do what you have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you did a lot of work with Sony. I mean, I remember watching you producing stuff. And then later, you did your other album, Blood on the Bricks.
Yeah, in 1991. Yeah, that's with Bon Jovi. We went to, well, before that, I did an album. Me and John were really close. So he'd always call me. I was just like his first call, anything creative, anything, you know. So he called me. I was hanging out at his house, and he called me up and he said, "Okay, I have a song that I want to put." Yeah, I got the offer to do the soundtrack for a movie, Young Guns 2. So he called me up, and then he says, "I have this song." So he plays me this song with a couple of chords, and it's called "Blaze of Glory." That he called it. He had the words in the music. So we recorded the song. We was just going through the song, and then it says it needs an intro, like More Dead or Alive. So I came up with that line. And so then I went home Friday night, and I cut the demo to Blaze of Glory, and I sent it to him Sunday by FedEx. He had it Sunday, Monday morning. He recorded the vocal to my tracks, and then Friday, and then Monday afternoon, he got the contract to do that. But the demo to Blaze of Glory and the record is identical, because then I went to his house for 2.5 months in his basement and did all the demos to all the songs. And then when we went to Los Angeles, he hired like Kenny Aronoff on drums, I forget, oh yeah, Jackson on bass, Randy Jackson on bass, Ben Montans from the Heartbreakers on organ, Waddy Wachtel, a super well-known guitar player, and Kenny Aronoff on drums. So we just did that. And so that's it. But they couldn't, I mean, when there was the producer that was there, it was a guy that did, I don't want to mention the name, but it was like an album that we both flipped out on. It was going, this is going to be great, man. We're going to be working with this guy. Wow, can't wait. And then when we got over it, we realized he didn't know how to do anything. It's like, he didn't. So I said, okay, well, now I sat in. And then he did his version of Blaze of Glory. And me and John were living in a place up in the hills, and it was a mansion, but it was like, we called it Disgraceland. It was Disgraceland. So we lived up there, so we drew the crack, and I listened to it, and I'm going, nah, this is horrible. This is horrible. Says, it can't even say, it's got to sound like the demo. So he says, what do you want to do? I says, I want to go home. I want to go in the studio and re-record it the way I did it, because it had all these guitars, 12 strings, all open tunings, different tunings. You know, I was really particular to that song to get that sound. So he says, okay. So we call the engineer at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the studio. I'm doing all the tracks. And then everything is there, set up everything. I did all the percussion loops that I'd done on the demo. And then as I'm doing that, I'm sitting in the control. The producer comes in and he goes, what's he doing? I'm the producer, and John says, let him do what he wants. I basically I do what I want. And in the end, anyway, with those sessions, all the musicians just come to me, because what should I do? What should I play? And whatever. And for that, the only credit I got was a thank you on the album. So that was a disgrace line in itself. You know?
Wow. Well,
and it's a thankless business. It's a thankless. That's why in 2008, I just got up. 2008, I said, I'm not doing it anymore. Everybody around me was becoming a millionaire, multi-millionaire, and I had trouble paying my rent. So it's just like, and I do the demos, and the demos became the records. They copied the records, and they would copy how the girls, like Howard Nancy Martinez would sing, identical. Like if I played the demo to A New Day Has Come, and I played the record version, it's identical. We got a girl that sounds just like her. It's identical.
Yeah.
They even used that girl's version on the record, but didn't pay her. So in 2008, I said, no, screw this. I'm not doing it anymore. I'd rather starve than do that again.
Yeah.
So I started working on my rock opera in 2008.
Yeah. No, no, and that's important for people to know that. Always make sure you get credit. Do the work, do the work. All these talented people should get credit and get paid, of course. But you always have people who have other plans.
My big mistake in life is thinking that everybody was like me. Like every time that everybody worked with me, I gave them credit. Everybody was like, and I did a record for Mario Pelchat. Tino Izzo came and he had the program tracks, and I said I'll give him a co-production credit. Now he's like the hot thing in the producer. So
Yeah.
it's like my mistake in life is thinking that everybody was like me, and nobody was like me.
No, I'm not sure I'd agree with that, Aldo. There are people who are, and there are people who aren't. I mean,
Of
you
course,
just don't
but
want
it just so
to.
happened that I frequented the ones who weren't, or the ones who weren't were drawn to me. So
Yeah, yeah. Because sometimes a big talent gets the magnet treatment, right? Yeah. No, I remember I just had a thought. I remember I was doing a TV show with a regular TV show, and the keyboard player was Denis Chartrand, and it was he who mentioned he was
he's the
working
one.
with you.
He's the one who plays keyboards on my first album, and he
Ah,
worked with me for 35 years on every album I did. It was Denis Chopin.
okay.
So go ahead.
No, no, I didn't know that part because he said, Aldo, I'm working with another Aldo, working on his album, and you gotta listen to this. This is way back, and I didn't know you then yet, but he talked a lot about you, so I heard about you because we were doing a regular TV show.
Me and Denis was the most talented keyboard player I've ever, even in the U.S. anywhere. He would orchestrate. He would do an orchestration with just one keyboard and string sound, and it was a symphony. He did a song on my album called King of the Sea. Even Bob Ludwig, who mastered my album, goes, "What orchestra did you use?" I didn't tell him that it wasn't a sampler, but he would like say it, and he'd go, and he would perfect hearing. He would like, it's not one of these guys that have to pick out the chords. Like I can't play other people's music because I don't have an ear. You just let the song run, and it'd be like this. Playing out the chords, all the rallententos, everything, the breaks, the stops. Then you just tell him, then he just plays the track. Never mistake. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and he's also a really good flute player.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he would on the TV show. He would sometimes pick up flute because it was like we were like 19 musicians in that orchestra. So people would switch things. It was yeah. So he played a lot of flute. There you go.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But he knew orchestration. He knew, okay, the oboes are going to play this, the bassoons are going to play that, the horns are going to play this, and the vocals are going to do that. The string is going to and the cello is going to do this, and the highs, and and how you pan in the music. And so it was. If I played the song, you'd go, "Oh no, it's a 40-piece orchestra."
Wow, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah. When you were doing, I'm just thinking here. What led you to at one point? I know you've been touring live and stuff, but I remember you talking about this rock opera way back that you were thinking of doing. You started doing the demos, and then you started. And I keep thinking about the Who when they did their opera, and then I was wondering how long you're going to take to, or you probably wrote 1,000 songs, right? But then you can't decide which ones.
I'm still writing. I'm still writing for it because, like I said, I started working in 2008. I took a break. And I didn't want to push these songs. I wrote 9 songs. I recorded them, and they're still all on the album except a few. But they're still great songs. And then I didn't want to push this record, so I wrote another 2 in 2013, 3 in 2015, and then in 2019 I wrote a good bunch of them also. But I already had the bass, and the story was always the same. And then in 2022 I wrote another one, and then recently I'm just writing all these new songs because I'm finally now I'm sending it to Broadway people or people that have contacts, and they always come back with some notes. And so the notes are, well, it's like 7 out of 10, but it's like it's going to take a deep pockets and a lot of money. So then I figured, okay, well, what's missing? So I took an online course, a master class at Tim Rice, Sir Tim Rice, and he basically showed me what it needed was a location. And for every movie starts with a zoom in on where it is, what town, where it is. It's got a location or a prelude to Silva, an origin. So I needed my origin story of my character. And now I'm putting songs in between songs to set up the scene, whatever, which is what The Who did for Quadrophenia, but Quadrophenia was 38 minutes long. This is 2.5 hours long.
2.5, yeah. It's a whole, yeah. I mean, it's a whole production, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And those things are fun. I mean, I was involved with one production, which was Jean Le Pucelle, Joan of Arc, which was produced here. And I was involved with the original, when they got the orchestra together to orchestrate the parts. I was playing percussion in this. So I did get a chance to participate as a creator of the parts for a Broadway show that ran, I think, 3 months here. René Simard was the lead singer in this. And all these people from New York came, Broadway, but it never made it. It was a great story. Could have been great.
But it's tough for me because it's a rock opera, and it's really rock. I mean, it's got some classical pieces, because the beauty of writing this is because you're writing it for a character. So a character could have, it's like there's a character that's like, it's good and evil, and it's also guys are it's like good and evil forces, and it's like record companies and guys, that they always, one is one, one is the other. So one is like the king of deceit, and so he has a nice classical piece, but then when he doesn't get his way, there's a song called Beast, where it's like 7/8 time heavy metal, all off time, 14 time signature changes in the song, and it's bestial, but like on Broadway, you need to be like la-di-da, so it's going to be a very particular hard sell. Although I said, like, I sent it to 2 people, they give it a 7 out of 10 without these stories.
Okay.
But they all said the same thing. You're going to need somebody with deep pockets.
Right.
If people don't know what that means, you're going to need somebody with a lot of money.
Yes, I've heard about it. Yeah. But I mean, what is if there's I mean, you've been all over. I mean, you lived all over, traveled. It's really interesting to being on the side as an artist. Wherever level you reach, the thing that's really interesting, I tell everybody, just being in this world, just the fact of being able to make music, and run across people in your whole trajectory that become part of your story, and you're part of their success, they're part of your success. And the whole thing about, of course, we get disappointed, we get people and the companies that, take you for a ride, or you sign a contract that holds you up for a while. I mean, we all deal with that. But the fact that we're playing music is amazing.
Yeah, the fact that we start playing music is because it's a passion. We don't play music. I don't play music for the money. And I live in a modest house. We don't spend a lot of money. I can live on my royalties, even though I don't get, it's not great, the royalties, with the way music business is with streaming and stuff like that. But I have a lot of great songs that I make it. So, but I know I've got every toy, anybody you could ever imagine. I don't play with like Gibsons. I buy Chinese guitars. It's the bootlegs, but I still play with those guitars, $300 guitars, and they're just as good. So I don't spend a lot of it, but I have everything. If I want something, I'll get it. So there's no, as far as gear, but inherently music starts as a passion. Even with me at 12 years old, it started from the ukulele to bringing that to, whether it's the blues or whatever. I don't know if my brother hadn't died, if I would have gone the same route. That's another thing. So
that's true.
it was a passion for me. It was a passion for a long time, but people can steal your passion. All that stuff with the record companies and things like that, they can rob you and leave you pretty sour. Now I'm pretty cool with it. Live and let live, but for a while it was quite a bit bitter. All that stuff with the no credits and things like that leave you with a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for you to have longevity and have any kind of real satisfaction, you got to own yourself and distance yourself from all that stuff. I remember, I mean, you know, in my own case, and I'm sure we all have these stories. I remember playing on a record and where I had a stake in it, and it was a Christmas album.
You had a stake in the record?
Yeah.
Like a steak?
Like it was it was this
No, I mean
big.
a steak.
But it was not a mistake. You're funny. No, but you know the record, the record is playing all over the place, right? So at one point, as the record company says, well, you know, I said that record is going like everywhere. It's playing everywhere. Everywhere I go, it's playing. How many records did you sell? At the end, they said, well, yeah, we only sold like 10,000. Okay. But it just so happened at the time there were the pressing plants, right? So I knew there's a friend of mine who worked at one of the pressing plants. Just by coincidence, I ran into a guy, and I think it was at Costco or something like that. And one of those grocery stores. And I mentioned this, and he says, oh my God. He says, you have no idea, Aldo. When that record came out, we had to stop pressing everything else for 2 weeks nonstop. So I said, did you press more than 10,000? Oh, he says, oh my God. So, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You know those stories.
Like, you know, I have to say something, but it's crooked everywhere, but where we live, it's really crooked.
But it's
they started that stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The publishing, I want your publishing, I want this and that. And it goes very high. It goes very high, you know what I mean? So
no, you have to be careful, and you have to, well, I mean, careful. I mean, then you take another road, you know. But there's some stuff you cannot do anything about. There's a record that I've had for a long time. I won't mention names or people or things. Just I know that the people who were administering this company in Germany said, there's this record out. Did you do a different version of this? And I'm listening to it, and I said, it's exactly it, but it's not the recording. I can hear the difference. Right. So somebody else, it was an instrumental thing, took it under their name, re-recorded, and then, you know, only years later, we're hearing about it. And then, you know, why? But that's...
Oh, well, you know, you take it with a grain of salt. At the beginning, it's like, sure, I was sour. Now I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? I've got my life. I got married 8 years ago. I'm so happy, really happy. I've got 3 Yorkshire Terriers and a cat, and they make me super happy. I love them, and there's a lot of love in my life. And you know, it's like for everything that was back, it's like I have a great future. I'm 69, believe it or not, and
so you're still young.
So and I'm good looking. Never forget that.
Well, no. Listen, how can I forget? You're always reminding me, Aldo. But what I can say is this, that my name, I got it first.
How come?
Because I'm a little older than you.
Oh, yeah.
So I got it first, all right?
Yeah, it's a very rare. I don't know. Yeah, I even went to Italy, believe it or not. I went to the motherland, and I loved it. And my wife always wanted to go to Italy, and I said, okay, I'm going to take you to Italy. So we went 2 years ago in September, October, like 3 weeks. And it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. It was just like, wow. You know, and my Italian's still perfect. So I even got a compliment on my Italian in Venice. Says, wow, compliments to Italian. And it's like, oh, thank you.
Nice. No, and you know, I was born in Calabria, and then a few years ago we bought a place in Calabria. I
saw the pictures.
You saw that, right? So I didn't want you to get, to salive, but wanted you to see on the Ionian coast, like it's 300 steps. I counted them. Beautiful paradise. So take that.
That's good. Yeah, no, I understand.
You're invited, by the way, if you ever want to come by, because here's the idea, Aldo. I'm seeing this place, and it looks like it really reminds me there's so much potential. So if we get a bunch of us who are in the artistic community, who spend some time there, influence, and we hang there, it's like we could do so much in a place like that because the food is great, infrastructure's all there, the airport's 40 minutes away from here.
In Calabria? Or?
Yeah, in Calabria.
In Calabria.
There's the international airport is La Media Terme, which is an international airport.
I didn't know that.
There are direct flights from Canada right there during the summer, and the high-speed trains. So
high-speed trains all over here. The Frecciarossa.
Frecciarossa. Yeah,
Those were incredible. Yeah, it's funny because everywhere in the world they have these amazing trains, 300 miles an hour, and here we have the REM. Whatever, whatever. That's what it is.
But the idea of the REM is great. So hopefully it ends up working. It ends up working well. Eventually, it will. It has to.
Yeah, maybe in 100 years. It doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, in Europe, like many places, I mean, high-speed trains to the airport. I mean, logic or what? I mean, any major city in Europe and Asia.
I saw China. Oh my God!
Oh yeah.
You go you go to the subway over there. It's like you can eat off the floor. It's like unbelievable. It's so advanced. Japan, I mean, everywhere. I mean, the train system is. You can go all over Europe. With it costs you almost nothing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I'm saying over there, I'm not saying it's better. It's just different, and there's certain things that are just incredible. I mean, every time I come back, it takes me 2 weeks to become normalized, because first of all, it's like food-wise, I have to say, what color of cardboard do we eat today? No matter how good it is, it's not the same.
Oh, you're cooking. You do the cooking at your house.
Well, Yolan won't let me anymore.
No, but I mean, yeah, it's true. We went over there. I didn't have a bad meal.
Yeah.
I didn't have a bad meal.
And you felt like $1 million.
They never offer you dessert. It's not like, I remember eating a dessert over there. It's not like over here, like table de design, and it was like inexpensive. It was good. The food, no matter where we went. I got a rain, bad, cold in Venice, but Rome was fantastic. I loved Rome. A lot of people don't, say, well, Rome is like, but for me, the Amalfi Coast was like a waste of time. But I had to see it. I saw Florence was incredible, the artwork, and I saw the statue of David and Michelangelo's stuff. So it's just so much history. It makes you realize that, man, the Romans, these guys were so advanced. And I watched all these, I talked to my wife, and we watched all these Egyptian things. And just like 2,000, 4,000 years BC before Christ, 2,000 years before Christ, they're building pyramids. They have things, engravings and sick, perfect sarcophaguses in 24 karat gold, stones that they bring from 500 miles away, square, that you don't even know how they carry them to get them there. So advanced that even today you can't figure out what happened. All of a sudden we hit 1 BC, and it's as if they erased all the memory. People are writing with chipping nails, and it's like you look at the Bible or whatever, or history, or the 17th century, whatever, and there's like still, 2,000 years before Christ, they have like monoliths and things that you can't even figure out. what happened? I mean, those are the questions that I ask myself.
No, no, you're right, and it's really interesting because you have the Greek, classic Greek, and that's way before the Romans, and then
Oh,
the
yeah.
Romans and all of. But the interesting thing is in Calabria you have all of that, okay, and most people don't know about it, which is in a way it's good because you're not standing in lines to go anywhere. The infrastructure is fantastic, the food is amazing, the air, the oceans, the beaches are like 200 kilometers long, and beautiful.
I haven't
And
heard that about Colombia.
yeah, and
Nobody's
especially in
ever
the
told me,
Ionian.
that side.
Yeah,
But it's like, it's great.
yeah, and there's a lot there, but people go up north, which is in some ways is good. And I tell my friends in Calabria when they complain that all the tourists go up north, I said you don't want to have that massive tourism that just ruins everything. I mean, it's beautiful. Rome, Florence, Venice. I mean, it's amazing. But to live in a place that is sane and clear and clean and at a pace that you decide the pace, not that the pace decides how fast you have to go,
Exactly, yeah.
makes a difference. And I go there a month, 2 months a year. Fantastic. I have my studio there. I can teach from there. I play with people and great musicians.
Really, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they have great musicians then. There's great musicians all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's 1,000 musicians now that I know that are more talented than me that haven't gotten their break yet. The guys that are like superstars, this and that. There's a guy in the wing that hasn't gotten the chance. That if he only had that one little sliver of maybe breaking into something, he would be like the most incredible musician. I don't know, Matteo Mancuso.
Oh, my
I mean,
God. There's one. He's
yeah,
insane.
Matteo Mancuso is from Palermo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's one of the best guitar players I've ever heard. It's not just like a diarrhea of the fretboard. This guy plays with taste. I mean, it's like incredible.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I heard him
So
many
he-
times. And there are so many people like him over there.
Yeah.
Well, everywhere, really, if you really pay attention. And now, that as far as I'm concerned, the world, as long as you have an airport nearby and you're still healthy, that you can get in and out, you could be wherever you want at any time. Really?
Exactly. Well, not today, not with the airlines the way they're running, with the strikes and the air traffic controllers. I mean, I know because me and my wife booked the flights for my band. My band, have to fly. I play in the U.S. quite a bit. And, it's like even my guitar player, he goes, I had to cancel all my shows this summer because of the air traffic controller strike. He goes, I had to cancel everything.
Yeah.
So the guy stops him from making a knowledge. Look at me, I have to go to the US. And now the US is so strict in how to get into work. It takes me a permit to work, a P2, just to go play. It cost me a lot of money. And two, it takes 7.5 to a year to get it.
Yeah.
So I have trouble because I don't have trouble getting a visa. But the thing is to get contracts, when you file for a visa, you need to have the contracts that match.
Yeah.
To give them an itinerary, the dates, where you're going. But the promoters in the US aren't used to working with Canadian artists. So the way they do it is that they sign an offer, and then after that, a month before the gig, they'll sign the contract. But I need the contract 7 months before, so it's almost impossible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like,
No,
whereas here, the Americans, we welcome them with open arms.
Sure. And that's always been an issue. The American Federation of Musicians, they've never made it equal. I mean, we have to pay to go there. They don't have to pay to come here. So,
No.
I say either or. It should be fair. It should be, we either all pay or nobody pays. That's fair.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fair.
Yeah, but then again, in the U.S., they have nothing to do with it. It has to do more with It's basically a border and border patrol that
Yeah.
controls Homeland Security that controls where you go. It has nothing to do with the union.
Yeah.
So it makes it it makes it a little bit tougher. It's like,
Yeah.
you take less gigs because you can't. They can't give you a contract 7.5 months. You can't book a show. If the guy gives you a show in March, I don't have 7.5 months. It's like, I have to have all the contracts. So it makes it tough.
Yeah.
For somebody who wants to work today.
And in a case like that, then, we're in the business of figuring things out, making things work.
Making things work. And that's what I do. I take care of my own immigration papers. I do everything. I know the book inside out by now, so.
Right.
So I work along the rules, but you have to be by the book. If you don't go by the book, everything I do is by the book. So that's why you go by the book, you have no problem. So that goes with life in general. You know what I mean? You have to tell the truth. You have to be honest, and you have to do things. That's in general. That's what my biggest goal in life is: not to be the best musician, it's not to be the best singer, it's not to be the best producer, it's not to be this and that. My goal in life now is to become the best human being I can become. And I think that people should achieve to that, because that's the only thing that counts, is to be a good human being. So most people don't get that. They really.
And in the end, that's what really counts, and that's what gives you peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I could die here now, and I know where I'm going.
Oh, you reserved.
But one-way ticket.
One way. We've already reserved the spot, but I've signed my contract, but it can wait. I have so much stuff to do still. So.
I know, me too. Obviously, I'm not wanted.
No, but no, they guys like you, they say, listen, there's still stuff in your head that's got to come out. There's still things you got to do. So, no, we don't need you here, and we don't want you here yet. Please.
No, it's also that, and since I've broken my neck and it's so close to either paraplegic or death, the injury I have, that I'm writing better stuff now. And it's just my creative streak is incredible. And I cracked the code. I write stuff so complex in my life that now I cracked the code. My best song is 1 chord and 2 minutes long. And that's the hookiest thing. And people that hear that song, they flip. And it's like, out of all my songs, they go, that it has 1 chord and 2 minutes long. It's like, it doesn't need more. It's like unbelievable. And it doesn't even have any words in the chorus. So talk about cracking, there's no words. It's just lyrics in the verses. It's
nice. Have you recorded this one?
What?
Has it been released?
No, it's a new one.
Okay.
It's the last song I wrote, yeah.
Now you have me curious. Well, some of the biggest hits were the ones that really had very little in it. No words.
I think that the biggest hits are songs that touch the soul. Songs that take too long. I've written with these guys in their rooms, so you have to put you with 2 other guys, and you have to write 3 songs a day. And I always thought that was a compromise. I prefer to be hit by like a lightning, and then I have a title music, and I've got to go to the piano or the guitar and pick it out, and those are the both of inspirations, and as inspiration, that's what you get it. And that kind of music touches the soul of people, I think. First of all, if I like it, normally people will like it, because I'm my biggest critic, so.
Right, and you've certainly written a lot of songs, so yeah. But I'm really happy to see that you've been on the road and you're still active, and that you're back to writing as much with vengeance. Right? I'm seeing that's good. It's good stuff. Anyway.
And I'm as more driven now than I was 20 years ago. Like the dream I had at 20 years old, it's like tenfold now. You know what I mean? So it just gets better. Well, at a while it was like, sometimes it was like, oh well, what was my dream? I don't remember what was my dream. when I was 12 years old. I don't know, I forgot. And now that's the dream again. I just got it again.
Do you think it has anything to do with a sense of urgency?
When?
That all of a sudden you sense a sense of urgency that you have to get the stuff, or now you're given the opportunity since you had the accident. Now you can't like go on the road for now until you're healed.
Oh, I'm going on the road now because I'm taking the shows anyway, even if I'm not healed. I'm healed. I mean, I can turn my necklace this way, it hurts, but it doesn't matter. And I take physio, and that, physio, it works. But I'm okay. I mean, I started practicing this show now. I do 75 minutes. I have no problem. No problem at all to do it. So I haven't started going like, if I was a Beatle, I'd be in big problems. A 1964 Beatle, I would be like,
Yeah.
So, no, the dream, just when you write, when you're creative, I mean, that's what I was born to do, I mean, it's a gift, you know what I mean? It's a gift, you're blessed.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know, a lot of people would love to have this. And there's a lot of guys, again, back to that are probably writing songs that are more inspired, that have better songs than all the people on the top 10, especially today, because it's like garbage, that are just never got the break.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you have to do some extra work, like showing up or being in a circumstance and making the decisions. I mean,
You're
it
right.
takes.
It goes. You can either make yourself known or just sit there. So, yeah.
No, you have to show up. I say to people, you have to do the work, you have to show up, and you have to come through. And then be part of somebody else's success, but never take no for an answer, if you believe it.
No doesn't exist in my book, you know what I mean? The word no, if somebody tells me no, he's finished.
Yeah. So then you go around them, right? Keep going. Yeah. And that's that goes with everything. So you have the satisfaction of where you're going, you know what you need to do, and you do it.
That's why the next step for me is like, after so many years of working on my rock opera, my vision is to see that done. To actually see it. The music is done. I want to see it on the stage. And
beautiful.
That's going to be like the biggest accomplishment.
Well, I really honestly wish you good luck with that, and I hope I can be at the premiere.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I can. You have to meet people. You have to know people. I'm getting there. I'm persistent. I'm not going to stop.
Beautiful.
But, if the music is there, then that's what happens. That's a different style of music. Rock. Musicals are sort of like la-di-da, I guess. Not la-di-da, it's good, but this is rock. I mean, it's really a rock opera. It's like The Who, but like times 10, you know what I mean? So
nice. I'm anxious. I'll be curious to hear it. I hope to hear some of it. But I wanted to say that I really want to thank you for finally coming on board and doing the podcast with me. I was imagining, you'd be one person I really would like to have on my podcast, and I thank you for taking the time.
I'm glad. I'm really happy. I'm glad I did it. Plus, I got to see you. I saw how many years that I haven't seen you now.
You came by when we did the workshop 6 years ago. Yeah, when we had Steve Gadd here, we had Antonio Sanchez, and during that week, that whole workshop, you came in. We talked about the business of music and all of that. Yeah, all important stuff.
That's a word that should not be associated. It should be music, and the business of music shouldn't be a word that exists.
Wow.
I mean, unfortunately, that exists, and that is what ruins guys. Contracts, people getting screwed to this day. And music business is what's making the music bad nowadays. I mean, AI, I'm sorry, but I don't think it's a good thing. And one thing I'm lucky is that AI can't do what I do. So
that's true. Yeah. No, but being educated in this is important, and knowing what's out there, what we're facing, especially with AI coming. I mean, it's here, but I mean where it's going at the rate and the rapidity that it is. It's
The fact that they're recognizing AI, the performance societies, as a form of songwriting. They're like going, okay, well, a song created by AI, as long as it came from an idea from a human being, is acceptable. You can register that song. That's a fact. Now they can do it all over the world now. And record companies now, they're not signing new artists because they're creating their own AI artists. It's an avatar which looks human. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any of these AI things. It's like,
oh yeah,
my God.
yeah.
You know,
No, it's
so-
not. It's not for me. It's not. It doesn't do it to me. Not like I was there that night too, watching the Beatles on its Sullivan show. It doesn't do that. Doesn't do
No,
that.
I'm watching the Beatles anthology now. These kids, these guys, no YouTube. Back then, people were stars. No YouTube, no Spotify, nothing. People became worldwide phenomenon. The legends, Led Zeppelin. Take Led Zeppelin. Huge.
Yeah.
To this day, nobody can get that. The 70s and even the beginning of the 80s. Well, the 60s with the Motown, that's phenomenal. The 70s were great for all those classic bands. And then the 80s, just the first half of the 80s. After that, the hair bands came, and that was it.
It's just, yeah, it's like a repeat in different keys and different.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
the 70s, people would like Queen, Led Zeppelin, Bowie. That
Sure.
was incredible. I mean, all these guys are worldwide phenomena. So no YouTube, nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Radio.
Yeah.
Radio should come back.
well, maybe a cycle. You never know, Aldo. But listen, I want to thank you. And these things we can go on forever. We can talk
Yeah.
about these things forever and our thoughts and things. And maybe we should another time. But
Okay.
I do want to thank you for taking the time to do this, because it was important for me, and I'm glad you finally were able to get back to me and do this.
Thanks, Aldo. It's a pleasure.
And as I always say, to be continued.